Hi, and welcome to this special edition of Storytime with Miss Rachel. October is a fun time of year. The weather starts to get cooler, and some people decorate their houses. Have you decorated your house? Maybe you have some scarecrows, or maybe you have some pumpkins, or maybe some jack-o'-lanterns. All of these things can be really fun. Sometimes during this time of year, people like to dress up in costumes and go to costume parties or go trick-or-treating. The costumes can be really fun. But sometimes this kind of time of year is scary for some people, especially if people have a scary mask or scary makeup. It could be scary. The first book I want to share with you today is about a lady who could have been very afraid, but she stayed brave and she wasn't afraid. Today's story is called The Little Old Lady Who Was Not Afraid of Anything. Now I'm going to need your help with this one. Are you ready to help? Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little old lady who was not afraid of anything. One windy afternoon, the little old lady left her cottage and went for a walk in the forest to collect herbs and spices and nuts and seeds. She walked so long and so far that it started to get dark. There was only a sliver of moon shining through the night. The little old lady started to walk home. Suddenly she stopped. Right in the middle of the path were two big shoes, and the shoes went clomp, clomp. All right, this is where I need your help. Can you take your feet and clomp like shoes would? Clomp, clomp. Good job. Get out of my way, you two big shoes. I'm not afraid of you, said the little old lady. And on she walked down the path. But behind her, she could hear two shoes go. How did they go? Ready? Clomp, clomp. A little farther on, the little old lady stumbled into a pair of pants. And the pants went, wiggle, wiggle. Can you wiggle yourself? Get out of my way, you pair of pants. I'm not afraid of you, said the little old lady, and she walked on. But behind her, what do you think she could hear behind her? The pants, how did they go? Wiggle, wiggle. And the shoes went clomp, clomp. Farther still, the little old lady bumped into a shirt. The shirt went shake, shake. Okay, can you shake, shake? Get out of my way, you silly shirt. I'm not afraid of you, said the little old lady. And on she walked, a little bit faster. But behind her, she could hear. Okay, ready? What could she hear? Two shoes go clomp, clomp. A pair of pants go wiggle, wiggle. And a shirt go shake, shake. A little ways on, the little old lady came upon two white gloves and a tall black hat. The gloves went, okay, ready? What do gloves do? Clap, clap. Did you do it? And the hat went nod, nod. Get out of my way, you two white gloves and tall black hat. I'm not afraid of you, she said. And on she walked just a little bit faster. And behind her, what could she hear? Okay, you ready? What did she hear? 2 shoes go clomp, clomp. A pair of pants go wiggle, wiggle. A shirt go shake, shake. 2 gloves go clap, clap. And a hat go nod, nod. By now, the little old lady was walking at quite a fast pace. She was very near her cottage when she was startled by a very huge, very orange, very scary pumpkin head. And the head went, And the head went boo, boo. Can you say that? Boo. This time the little old lady did not stop to talk. She did not stop at all. She ran. But behind her she could hear 2 shoes go clomp, clomp. A pair of pants go wiggle, wiggle. A shirt go shake, shake. 2 gloves go clap, clap. A hat go nod, nod. And a scary pumpkin head go boo, boo. Oh no! She's very afraid. Look at her scared face. The little old lady did not look back. She ran as fast as she could and didn't stop to catch her breath until she was safe inside her cottage with the door locked. She sat in her chair by the fire and she rocked and she rocked. It was so quiet in her cottage before the knock, knock on the door. Should she answer it? Well, she was not afraid of anything. So she went to the door and opened it. And what do you think she saw? Two shoes go clomp, clomp. A pair of pants go wiggle, wiggle. A shirt go shake, shake. 2 gloves go clap, clap. A hat go nod, nod. And 1 scary pumpkin head go boo, boo. I'm not afraid of you, said the little old lady bravely. What do you want anyway? We've come to scare you. You can't scare me, said the little old lady. Then what's to become of us? The pumpkin head suddenly looked unhappy. What do you think is going to happen with all those things? I have an idea, said the little old lady. She whispered into the pumpkin's ear. The pumpkin head nodded and his face seemed to brighten. The little old lady said good night, closed the door, and whistled on her way to bed. What do you think she told the pumpkin head? The next morning she woke up early. She went to her window and looked out into her garden. And what do you think she saw? Two shoes go clomp, clomp. 1 pair of pants go wiggle, wiggle. 1 shirt go shake, shake. 2 gloves go clap, clap. 1 hat go nod, nod. And 1 scary pumpkin head go boo, boo. What did it do? It's a scarecrow. And scare all the crows away. Look, they got all used. Even though they couldn't scare the little old lady, they were still useful in scaring crows out of the garden. That was a great use for those items. And even though the little old lady got scared and ran back to her cottage, she remembered that she wasn't afraid of anything. So she just opened the door, and sure enough, there were those items. And she's like, just go away. You're not bothering me. The next book I want to share with you is a book about 2 bad little monsters. And they try to create a big bad monster. But things don't quite go their way, and they learn a really good lesson. The next story is The Monster's Monster. Grouch, Grump, and Little Gloom and Doom thought they were monsters. You see them? They're very small monsters. They lived in a dark monster castle, high atop a dark monster mountain, overlooking a monster-fearing village. Their little monster heads were always filled with big monster thoughts. Smash, crash, and bash. See, they're throwing big stones off the top of the castle. Huffing and puffing, mad about nothing. Their 10 favorite words were, no, 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 no. And no. Every day they argued over who was the biggest, baddest monster. Who could complain the loudest? Who could throw the most temper tantrums? Who was the most miserable? These debates always ended in a brawl. A brawl is a fight. One day, they decided to settle the argument once and for all. Grouch got some tape, tacks, staples, and glue. Grump found some gunk, gauze, and gobs of goo. Gloom and Doom grabbed bolts, wire, and a smelly old shoe. Together, they would make a monster. A monster. The biggest, baddest monster ever. They hoisted their creation into the stormy night sky, where, bam! A lightning bolt sent a powerful jolt through the creature. See the creature up here? The monster started to twitch. "He's alive! He's alive!" the little terrors exclaimed. The monster roared as he stumbled around, tearing away the bandages. "Big," Little Gloom squealed. "Bad," Little Doom squeaked. "Monster!" they all cheered together. The growling giant reached toward them, and then in a deep, booming voice, he said his first words. "Thank you." He crushed them to his chest with a tight squeeze. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Monster wiggled his stubby monster fingers and tapped his clunky monster feet. He looked around in wonder and threw open the window. The room filled with warm, early dawn light, bird songs, and dewy fresh air. Monster smiled and let out a little giggle. "What do you think you're doing?" cried Grouch. "Look, the monster is saying thank you." "Why is he saying thank you?" "Is it because he's happy to be alive?" "I think so." Monster bounced around the room, gently greeting the many bats, spiders, rats, and snakes around him. "No, no, 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 no," shouted the group. "You're supposed to be a monster." But Monster didn't think he was a monster. He didn't think he was anything. but thankful to be alive. Monster became still, sniffing a hint of sweetness in the morning air. Suddenly he let out a roar and smashed through the dungeon wall. "Ha ha!" Grouch laughed. "He's finally coming to his senses." "Yes, yes," shouted Trump. "He's off to make mayhem in the village." "He's going to smash, crash, and bash," cried Gloom and Doom. The rascals dashed after Monster, trying to keep up with his long strides down the mountain. "Monster, Monster!" they cheered after him. The village bakery was just opening for the day when Monster plowed through the front door. Grouch, Grump, and Gloom and Doom anxiously awaited outside the shop, peering through the dusty windows. "Big," whispered Gloom. "Bad," whispered Doom. "Shh," begged Grump. "I want to hear the howls and yowls." There was a tense quiet, and then finally from inside the bakery they heard, "Thank you." Monster appeared clutching a white paper bag. Then he turned and headed out of town toward the beach. "After him!" the trio cried. "Monster! Monster!" Monster slowly knelt down on the soft, cool sand. Grouch, Grump, and Gloom and Doom collapsed in a heap around him. As they tried to catch their breath, Monster gently patted their heads. He carefully opened the bag and gave each one of them a warm, powdered jelly donut. Grouch, Grump, and Gloom and Doom were speechless. But then they remembered what their big, bad monster had said. "Thank you." Monster looked at them and smiled. They smiled back. And together they all started to giggle. Grouch, Grump, Little Gloom and Doom, and their new friend sat quietly on the shore, watching the sunrise. And the seagulls playing, and the seagrass dancing, and the ocean glistening. And no one was thinking about being a monster. Oh, the big monster was just so happy to be alive. He was thanking them. "Thank you so much for making me alive." He was so happy, and he had something that we call gratitude. Okay, that's being thankful. And he had some really good friends in the end. The three little rascals, they turned into be pretty good friends in the end, right? Not trying to make him do bad monster stuff. All right, one more book I want to share with you, and it is called, let me get back to the beginning. It is called The Pumpkin Patch Parable. We have to try something different with this one. All right. See that big red barn? And all those rolling green fields? That's where the farmer lives, way out in the country. It's so far out the streets don't even have stop signs. The farmer grows lots of different things in those fields. He grows tall green corn and red tomatoes, long yellow squash, and little green peas. People eat that stuff for their dinner. The best vegetables the farmer grows are pumpkins. They start out as flat oval seeds, almost as big as raisins. You see the red barn and the hills One hot June day, soon after school let out, the farmer planted pumpkin seeds, just like he did every summer. The seeds disappeared into the ground in nice, neat rows and grew there in the dark all through the 4th of July. You see him buying the seeds and then planting them in the nice, neat little rows. And he's got a little doggy helper. Early one morning, a tiny green shoot quietly poked its way out of the soil. Soon, a long green vine stretched across the ground. From that vine, little buds sprouted into wide green leaves. The leaves spread out flat to catch the August sun. Someday, those little green buds would turn into big orange pumpkins. But not yet. The patient farmer waited and waited. The pumpkins began to grow. How different they looked. Some were tall and lean. Some were short and round. You see they're starting to grow, and now we've got vines, and you see that tiny little flower there. I can't reach it. That little flower right there. That will soon be a pumpkin. Some of the pumpkins had lumps and bumps, but all of them were pumpkins. October came at last. The sky was bright blue and the air was cooler. Every night it got dark earlier than it did the night before. It was time for the farmer to harvest his pumpkin crop. The farmer's many workers brought lots of ripe pumpkins in from the fields. Which one would he choose first? You see how they're all different? Some are tall, some are short, some are really round, some are not as round, some are bumpy. But they're all pumpkins, right? They all look different, but they're all pumpkins. The farmer picked up one large pumpkin, being very careful not to let it slip through his hands. Pumpkins are tough on the outside, but they break into smithereens if you drop them. He washed off all the dirt, holding on tight. Next came the messy part. You see all those pumpkins? You see the one he chose down here, and he's cleaning it up? Pumpkins are full of dozens of seeds and lots of slimy pulp. The farmer had a special plan for his chosen pumpkin, so the seeds and the slime had to go. He slowly slid a large knife right through the center of the pumpkin. The pumpkin didn't make a sound because vegetables don't talk. If they did talk, I'm sure the pumpkin might have said, "Ouch!" Gently, the farmer cut a round hole in the top of the pumpkin and pulled on the stem. Squishy, stringy pulp waited for him inside. Yuck! The farmer pulled out all that slimy pulp and wrapped it up in old newspaper. Off to the compost pile it went, never to be seen again. All right, do you see all the pulp he's pulling out of there? Slimy. Look. Oh, look, there's the compost pile. You see the kitty sitting there? It's the compost pile. Then something really exciting happened. The pumpkin got a new face. The farmer carved a triangle for each eye. Pumpkins have eyes that don't blink or turn away. They see everything. He neatly carved a little square for a nose, and then a big wide smile. What happened next was wonderful. The farmer put a small white candle down inside the pumpkin and touched the wick with the flame. how the pumpkin glowed. You see that? He looks so happy. Oh, I love jack-o'-lanterns. As the sky grew darker, the pumpkin on the porch was shining brighter than ever. When people saw the smiling pumpkin, they smiled back. All of the neighbors knew that once again the farmer had turned a simple pumpkin into a simply glorious sight. In the same way, God the Father offers his children a chance to be made new, full of joy and full of light, shining like stars in the dark world. So you see how people are coming and they're seeing the jack-o'-lantern all bright and happy. And then down here, it's still glowing on the porch. See, it's kind of like that with us and God. We're all pumpkins. We're all people. We're all the same. We look different. We talk different. But we're all people. Just like the pumpkins. We're all pumpkins. And all that yucky stuff that the farmer pulled out of the pumpkin, that's like our sin. God takes all the yucky stuff out of us and puts his light inside of us, just like the farmer did with the pumpkin that he carved. I hope you enjoyed story time today, and I hope you learned about being brave and being thankful, and how you can let God come into your life and clean out the yuckiness and put his light in you, and you can go out and be God's light into the world. Thank you for joining me in my library. I'll see you next time.